Is it running?
Yep.
I'd like to call the meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item we have is approval of the agenda as presented. Is there any corrections, alterations, additions?
No additions.
Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I make a motion.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public comments, we didn't have anybody sign up tonight, so we'll skip right into Mindy, last line, assessor for the cyclical reassessment. And I'm assuming open the bid.
I want to say too, Randy, I'm sorry about Bob. He was good.
He was a good feller.
I walked in the funeral home and I thought I was in the land of giants. Everybody in there was 9 feet tall.
Ate their Wheaties when they were kids.
Well, the first time I ever met him, that was paying insurance tax, Troy. And he got up from that desk and he just kept getting up. I went, oh my God. He's just so sweet and kind. And Janice, she's so sweet. One for each of us.
I guess. Assuming they're all the same.
This is the only one you got, Mindy?
The only request.
Where'd you advertise this at? Is there a place that you advertise for bids?
I put it in the paper, I put it out here, and then we put it on the website. And this is Troy Fryman from Tyler Technologies, so if you might have any
Good evening.
questions.
So see, all the road guys put tabs
Mm-hmm.
where the price is.
The bid form, which would be the third section after the questionnaire.
Okay, the bid for this service, let's see, is $378,240.
Where do you see that?
It's under the bid form tab. And is that a 4-year?
That's 4 years, and that'll be split up into 4 years,
Yeah.
equal amounts each year.
I think they switched over to monthly payments on this, if I remember that.
That's correct, it's a monthly.
4 phase.
Okay.
We used to have to budget depending on where we were in the cycle. So one year it might be 100,000, and the next year it might be 70,000. So we opted to just take the total amount and divide it by the 4, so it's easy to budget. So it's the same amount each year.
And when does your contract now run out?
The other one
That's
ends April the 31st, 2026.
Okay.
But because of budgets and all of that, you have to have this one in play before the other one. But this one won't start until May 1st of 2026.
I've got a couple questions, just for my education purpose. You go through 25% of the county, right?
Yes.
So, and then you're assessing residential, commercial, and like industrial?
And agricultural, you have to do
And
a certain percent in each class,
Okay.
each cycle.
Now, when you get to your industrial.
Can you come up here? I'm sorry, because
Okay.
when we go to
get
do
your
minutes.
industrial, sometimes when you break it out over a 4-year period, you really want to look at that in certain ways depending upon how the county's structured in the townships. So you may not get everything equal for 1/4 each year, but we try to do that. Good news is because we've done the county, and have been involved here in Perry County for, since 2004. We have a good idea of the process of what we're
So, okay, while you're talking about industrial, we have a couple larger plants. So would you go into the foundry and do the 100% reassessment at one time in the foundry? Because it's probably our largest
We've walked through
industrial.
Wapaka twice.
So you'll go through that like 2 times.
We've,
No, I'm talking about like you say you do it quarterly. Just curious how you approach the industrial.
It would take-
Whenever you have probably,
It would
we have,
take a few days to a week in terms of how we walk through that. But that does happen through the cyclical process of the 4-year period.
but I think whenever
we would
you,
do that in one cycle.
one of the 4 cycles.
Right.
So you
Right.
just pick whenever that time out is.
Yes.
Because,
It's based on the scope of work. You'll see where we'll be each cycle.
okay,
And all of that had to be sent up to the Department of Local Government Finance to make sure we were within those guidelines and approved by them before we could ever put out bids.
so like when you do your residential, do you come in with a whole group of people? Or do you have one person do it, 2 person? How do you approach your
We
25%?
We work in about 24 to 25 different counties in the state. But what's great about what we offer is that we've got people that are fairly local, are knowledgeable, that understand the county. So instead of bringing in 5 people to do this at one time, we bring in one person that's touching most of those. So it's consistent across the board.
So in other words, you earmark a certain area in the county that over the 12-month period of time, this one individual has to go out and physically visit every one of these
Yes.
sites and then collect the, I just got a question. I know a lot of the areas up in the northern part of the county and probably some over around the river too have gates and things like that. How do you get in there to access those properties without making?
There's several
appointments?
ways, obviously feet on the street. If we don't have the ability to be able to see it visually, then we utilize anything that we can do from the air. And then also we make contact with the taxpayers if we have to try to get either A, on site, or B, at least try to do a questionnaire with them.
So do you use a mapping type?
All
You
counties-
said,
All counties use MAP. But
I'm
yeah,
talking about like you talked about aerial maps.
They
You use it?
download our maps from our WTH that we have on the county website. They download that onto their tablets and then overlay our parcels onto that. And then on that parcel, on their tablet, attaches a property record card. And so it's what we have currently through WTH is downloaded on their tablets to do that.
Have you ever looked at like 3-dimensional aerial work?
I've had the opportunity to work with about every company you can think of, not only within the US, but abroad. And us, we're the largest company that provides these services within the US. So we've entertained everything, not only from 3D, but also to anything mechanically that can utilize the technology of today. What happens mostly within Indiana, WTH, Woolworth, Pictometry are a few of the companies that actually do what's called the oblique aerials of the respected areas. And we utilize that as a tool in terms of to do our assess data that we put together on that.
Yeah.
3D modeling can be done. Mostly we see that in larger jurisdictions. So if I look at the top 25 jurisdictions, which we're in a large portion of those, sometimes we'll do 3D modeling on larger scale properties when it comes to the commercial or the industrial side. When it comes to the residential, we don't see it as much.
I'm just thinking, and I know it's not inexpensive to do that, but, you know, you would save first of all, the individual that goes out to see the property, you could sit behind a computer inside of a desk and go through each one of the parcels and look at it and measure it and know exactly. And what brings me to this point, we have an issue currently, it's coming down through the state health department of some structures in Rome. And we're questioning some of the permits. They are questioning them because of the location where they're at. And I think some of those parcels don't even exist on our tax rolls. So I'm just curious how those, and they sent us maps showing from one year to the next year to the next year, whenever they were flown, and how the buildings just started to appear up there. So the main thing is that we pick up all these accessible parcels of property, but this probably did not have permits issued, and this is probably why it is what it is, but
I know I went
we're currently in the middle
one
of that.
time up there and there was nothing. Next time I went, the bulldozers had been there and buildings started, they were already up.
And we'll see when we're in that quarter and we're out there reviewing, the flag new construction will be huge. And we know, and probably would be my guess is the last time that we were there, all of those things, knowing that it would be 4 years before we got back, all of those things start popping up.
They sent us 3 maps, and I can't remember, in early, maybe 2005, I'd have to look on the GIS site. But they were showing us, and it just kept growing. So they've been there for some time.
So is it Riverview property? So like, or is it like
I
campers,
think it's
shelters
kind of
type thing?
camp houses. One of them is an actual
Because those
farm.
would be on personal property, which you wouldn't see those on that map. Like we
These are
have a lot of that at Rocky Point, like,
But those are campers. These here were like,
no, it's not
No,
campers, like
up the creek, there's
the
houses.
lean-tos and all of that. Mr. Harding owns the land, but Becky has the shelter on there, so she's getting a separate tax bill. And you can't see that on the real property tax roll.
so like a shelter is personal property.
It's not personal property, it's real, but they don't own the land underneath of it. So they have a separate, the legal description would say
explain.
building on leased land.
So in other words, the actual owner of the property
The-
is not, it won't reflect that is a taxed
Right,
unit. It will be sent to whoever actually has
Right.
leased the property. And-
yes, yeah,
Okay, that might explain it,
yeah,
because
and,
the state was questioning it with us, what was going on, and we're thinking, oh.
yeah. And the problem with those, because it doesn't have land attached to it, we have to give it a 99 number, which all the 99s don't show up on the GIS system.
That kind of explains it.
Yeah.
So
So,
back up in the creek, there's a lot of actual homes people own up on the creek side.
and that was the thing, this is all with the development on the campsites, what the
Yeah.
state's got involved in, and so
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not sure where that's going, but
more likely than not, those are buildings on leased land, like a lot of Rocky Point is.
okay, that kind of makes sense. So then the commercial, I'm assuming you approach it just like industrial?
Industrial would probably take a little bit more effort because depending on the size of it, you may have some that may take a few days up to longer than.
But do you bring a team in for that, or does one individual
have-
basically
We
do
usually have a commercial expert
They'll come in?
and they would actually review those properties. And that process happens depending on the cycle, whether it's the first, second, or third.
Okay,
But how that normally happens, you normally have a little bit more information that goes along with the commercial and industrial. As she was explaining earlier, we used to do this probably 15, 20 years ago, what we call jackets. You'd have a property record card, you'd have a map, you'd have everything. You can utilize it from the desktop. Physically getting out to look at these properties is another piece of this. To look at it from an obsolescence standpoint as well, particularly on the agricultural side of things. But when you look at the commercial and you look at the industrial piece of it, a lot of it is electronic in terms of what we've got on our tablets. And so we complement in terms of what the county already has in place, WTH with their CAMA system, pretty much any permits that we may be able to get our hands on. That's part of it too, when we go out and we review these.
but your agriculture is based upon what the state tells you to pay for acreage, and it's based on production or quality of soils, however they rate those, correct?
The combination of both of
And that-
those.
Probably doesn't change. The rate may change, but the
Right.
quality of the soil is pretty
Right.
much stationary.
If you have a field that's tillable, more than likely it's gonna stay tillable for a really long time.
Right, and the quality of the
Versus-
soil won't improve immensely, so it doesn't vary a lot.
But looking at the outbuildings, she mentioned earlier about some of the lease property that had lean-tos and stuff on it. That's another thing that we look at, besides just the main subject, which would be the house. You have to find and look at all the applications.
So then, once you collect this data, I mean, it's collected electronically,
It's collected in the CAMA solution electronically.
and then it's
brought back.
inputted into Exoft?
They upload it into a file and then we input the data into Excel.
But you don't do it
We-
manually, do you?
We data enter, yes, we do.
Partial by partial?
Any changes that are made in the field are in that file. And so we have that up on the screen in red, all of the changes that they make, and then we data enter those into Excel.
There's not a way to batch file that?
You can't batch file changes because like it might be an effective year, or it might be a condition. Those are things like each parcel it's all different things. So there's no way for them to take that and upload that to each individual parcel. Now, we do that batch to attach a picture, but the actual data entry is done manually by my staff.
That creates quite a bit of work. So that's just like an electronic file, it's not like a spreadsheet form or anything that a person could look at and say, this has changed from this to this, that
Well, there are spreadsheets that are used after the data's within the Canvas
uploaded.
solution. You have to look at that from the sales side, just to be sure where things are compliant, things are out of bounds.
So how many, just, and not an exact number, how many parcels are actually touched in a 25%? And just on the average, if you are over the 4-year period, how many adjustments are in parcels? I mean, are you looking at 1,000 or 10,000? Or, I mean, how many changes actually? What? I know you get your base originally, you do that work and it's there, but I mean, how many changes just on, I'm just curious, on an average year or average 4-year
It depends
period?
upon the township. It depends on how much development's happening within that respective township.
I'm speaking on Perry
There's
County.
notes,
I
there's
mean,
notes, well, Perry County, there's notes that actually happen on each of those. We have to document what we looked at, who we talked to, and then making those changes.
do you have like a guess?
On an annual basis for 4 years,
I wouldn't even know.
I would say at least probably, I would say 3,500 to 4,000. And some of those you may look
Annually.
at, yeah, you may look.
So you're gonna be looking at,
Because new construction, you may have to go out.
yeah, so you're looking at 14 to 16,000 in a 4-year period, basically, or something like that. Okay.
So that's why when you think about it, I mean, I do these in jurisdictions up to 500,000 parcels, and I may have 30 people there. Within Perry County, I'm able to utilize that with just a handful of people to be able to touch that over 4 years.
So how many parcels do we have?
We have 16,791, I think.
This is a breakdown of their plan of the parcels.
Okay.
If you look in the form agreement that we have, which is a form agreement that the attorney will look through, that's a standard form that the Department of Government Finance provides. And we have to provide not only a plan to the department, but also breaking that down of what parcels we're looking at now.
Each year?
Each year. And that's a prescribed agreement that the state has. It's not one that company comes up with. That's one good thing about how Indiana does things, is that everything's going to be across the board.
Okay. Other questions?
You think about census, but it's a little bit more in depth than what census is. It's not glamorous. How about that?
Well, I just think it would be it would be a challenge. I know some of those areas, they got a fence and the real estate is like a half mile down the road from where the fence is. Trying to catch, and some of those people don't even, it's not their residence. It's kind of a little cabin or something that they drive in from another location. And I'm thinking, unless you're working on the weekends, and then it's not every weekend that they're there, but that would be a real battle, trying to catch it to see what.
Two things happen. One, advertisement, what township we're in. And then also from that standpoint, we have badges and magnets that go along with the cars so that we know who they are.
I'm just thinking, trying to catch somebody where you can get the gate open. I'm gonna walk back through there. That would take a lot of time.
25 years ago, I would walk back.
They
I
hike
think
some.
about it now, no, especially after COVID now.
Not in Tobin's Sport. You wouldn't have told me for it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
That's the thing about it, you don't want to be out, because people might not be too fond of somebody that appears to be a stranger.
What happens normally is that those people, if someone is trying to get on the property, they'll call the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department knows where we're at and says, yeah, we've got people out there. But normally what happens, it's intercepted by the assessor's office first before that happens.
We get a lot of calls.
You get somebody out here.
But I always say, look on the car, there should be a magnet and. the
Yeah, but
person
he's
should have
walking
a photo
around,
ID.
he doesn't have his car with him.
So.
It's, well, we
It's not a
want,
glamorous job, but it's a job that at least, one, makes things fair and equitable for the county. And then two, when you think about, what that process happens, we only do the assessment side, we don't do the taxation side. That's where the big difference is in a lot of this. In terms of that, you've got to be sure that it's fair and equitable and it's up to date.
And we've got to ensure that we have the best data that we can have, because it all trickles down to what we've got to budget with. So if we don't have the staff and the tools, we can't get what we need.
so is there any way, let's see, we have this parcel on leased ground, and someone looks at our GIS and sees there's no real estate there. Is there another location they could look at to say, hey, it's covered under someone else's name? I mean, is there something that you see on GIS that would trigger you to say, there is real estate here, but it's being charged to a different person, and that's because that happens. People come in and go, well, so-and-so's not even getting assessed. Well, maybe it's leased ground and that's why it doesn't appear. So is there someplace else that someone could check, we could point them to, say, hey, take a look at this and see if you can find it there? Is there another website location?
If you know a landowner, we could.
Well, I don't think people are gonna call up and say, hey, looks like you're not being charged anything for your buildings there.
Well, you'd be surprised what we do.
I'm just,
You'd be surprised.
I know on a lot of the farm grounds that are leased, the agricultural,
Mhm.
well, like ours, there's a barn on some of the crop ground. And the man who crops it, he's not charged for the barn, we are.
you are,
Mhm.
but you're the landowner.
Yes,
See, so
Yeah,
whenever we
on the
look at
property
your
card.
land, it would show up on the property card that you're being assessed for a barn.
but he's leasing the ground.
Right, but the question is if you're leasing a piece of, let's just say somewhere along the river, and there's a home there, a cabin, or whatever it is,
Mhm.
and the person that actually owns the cabin is getting the charge for the real property, how does anyone know when they look at that there, and they say, well, there's 10 buildings down there, and not a one of them are paying any property taxes?
Well-
In reality, it might be being paid by the individual who actually owns the structure on leased property, but there's no way for someone to look that up and qualify that Tom Smith is getting charged for his cabin that's down on the river. I mean,
And that's where our field guy that we've had for a long time, he's familiar with the area, and he has sat down with landowners and said, okay, here, this is Chris's, this is Randy's, this is Pam's, this is Becky's, and break that all down. So if it's a newly developed area, it's just a matter of us making contact with the landowner.
I'm not saying it's not being done. I'm just saying, how does the general public take a look at that and say, hey, there is actually being
Yeah.
real estate charged against
I don't know if we could add a layer with the 99s. I don't know. That would be something we could talk to WTH about.
It's called 99s.
The parcel number, your big long number that starts with 62, the
It's the
next
last
two
one.
numbers are 99. So that tells you that means it's unplatable. It's based on what we have. We can't plat it out to get it that.
Be after the 62, it'll say 99.
So I've seen that before, and I just thought it was ground that you really couldn't find where it was at, because some of the descriptions or some of the acreages are off and it's kind of unknown. That's how I thought you got the 99 number.
Yeah.
But also this other stuff that's leased would have a 99. I can ask him.
That's the only thing I know that has the 99s, is the leased grounds. What else has the 99s?
there's some land, there's some real land that has 99 because based on the legal description, there was no way to open and close it. So there's some,
It
And
doesn't,
then, like-
if you haven't had a survey, and all the surveys and the descriptions have to close.
Yeah.
And then you have areas that, especially some of the areas with the cliffs and stuff in here, it's a little squirrely. And some don't close.
yeah. So
And
so
then
they
they
weren't
end
able
up
to
with
plat those, so
Okay.
those would get a 99 number. And
It's there, somebody claims that
Yeah.
it's, but it's,
Lisa's chiming in here.
who is?
Lisa.
maybe she's a pro on that.
Yeah.
Well, any other questions, Laura?
I do not.
We want to read through this, I'm assuming, and then we'll,
Well, I'll need to send that to Andrew as well,
Yes.
just to make sure, to send it to him and send the specs to make sure that it's,
lines up with what,
yeah.
I mean, I guess my only question, if we have those areas that we know that are problemsome, can we make sure that those are done?
well, that would be something on the county level that we would set up and say, hey, if you have a questionable area, let us know. And we can start, whether we have a link on our website that allows people to report certain parcels
I would say,
anonymously.
yeah, I would say that would be not any different. I get a lot of times where I get questioned on deductions and stuff, so I would think that would be not any different than if we're made aware of something, then
And
it needs to be
that's
looked into.
where the auditor's office and my office work really well together, because if you've built a new home without a building permit and you come in and you file for a homestead,
Mhm.
See,
Lisa will
the-
come down and say, hey, they filed for a homestead, but we don't have a house, so,
What really has helped a lot since COVID is the utilities will not hook up a new home
Yeah.
or a new building
Yeah.
or anything.
so
And,
it's
and that has really
It's a whole
brought them in
process.
the door.
it's
So
teamwork, so.
it works. It's
So if
helpful.
we could, I'll send that to Andrew, get all that, and then just put it onto the next agenda.
Yeah.
October 6th.
That work?
Yeah, I
Do you
can
need one of
read
these or do you have one of these?
I do not.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, so.
Next item on our agenda is the minutes from September the 2nd, 2025. Any changes, additions?
No.
Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to accept as presented.
I make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item up is payroll for September 12th, 2025, in the amount of $186,181.96.
I make a motion.
I second that.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll withholding for the same period, September 12th, 2025, in the amount of $39,549.64.
I make a motion.
Second.
And all those in favor? Health claims in the amount of $69,257.75.
I make a motion.
I second that.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Solid waste claims for September 16th, 2025, in the amount of $7,080.77.
I make a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
AP claim document for September 16th, 2025, in the amount of $889,918.45.
I make a motion.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item up is claims for Alpha for a chiller totaling $10,221.14. And Chris has informed me that we have $10,000 that's set aside for maintenance on the courthouse. And this has went just a little bit less than 5,000 over what we had budgeted.
5,000 over?
Yes, these bills are expensive when they work on the chillers. what I was proposing to bridge that, we have some funding leftovers from some seeded money. I think it's in 7312. And we could pull out of that to pay the remainder of this bill. If everybody's okay with that.
What fund is that, 7312?
7312, and don't hold me to that, but I think that's what it
It's a
is.
7300, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's 7312. It was, before they changed to the local income tax, we had that account. It was seeded, I think was what it is.
Okay,
And it's got a little money left in it, so
and that'll cover this?
it'll cover the overage, whatever we need.
I
We
was,
just won't have any appropriation left for the remainder of the year out of building maintenance general. That's the only thing that kind of
I mean, we
concerns
can
me a little
pay,
bit.
we could pay the remainder of any building maintenance expense out of that too, ongoing.
If you're okay, so that I wouldn't have to come back. I mean, I'll still have to take it. Also, I don't know. How do you want to do that?
The problem is, we don't know how much it might.
did they just Band-Aid this again? I know they put new, the water leaks on a chiller, replaced faulty piping and installed a flange and filled the line and tested for leaks. And then,
I think they Band-Aided it to begin with, and then they came back and they were proposing using a metal pipe that would take us over $10,000, I believe, for the metal pipe.
yeah, and they replaced 3 faulty isolation valves
Yeah.
on the loop, the water loop.
And I think we ended up putting in the PVC, which is what originally was in there. And it was a little less expensive.
I just
But
don't
it's-
want to have to keep coming back every time if Greg has a, small invoice or whatever. So that's why I was like, how do we do this? I'm good with whatever, but I just don't want to get us delayed. The total alpha bills for the year is $10,221.14.
This is
So-
total for the year.
That's what's for alpha, yeah. But what we're short right now that we can't even pay is right under 5,000. What is that?
$4,952.17.
But that's basically bringing that line item to zero, so there's nothing left. And I don't want us to get Greg not to be able to put bills in, then I have to come to you guys and ask for additional, and then wait to go to the council
Then you can
to
take
do
it
the
out of CEDA.
additional, where I can just, if I was able to just take this to, I don't know.
If we'd want to take and just move 5,500, that would give $548 in there. I
Out of
mean, that
CEDA.
takes, he goes down and he buys a little miscellaneous, just
Mhm.
like in this here, he has a help biller, I think for
What we
58.
could do is just appropriate 5,500, pay these bills out of that, and then from here going on, tell him, instead of having to move the money, just leave that remaining $500
In the
in the
account, so you give
seeded,
him some,
and give it to
it'll buy
that,
small stuff, but it won't do anything big
Yeah.
for him. But that's generally what he uses it for.
so we can change this.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd entertain a motion to move, and it's a seated account, I believe it's 7312, but confirm that.
12 or 14, I can't remember.
$5,500 to cover the existing bills, plus leaving an additional roughly $550 in there. So,
I make a motion.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item up is the Hospital Board of Trustees Letter of Interest. This is for one seat, I believe.
Did you guys get all those? Because some of them were being sent.
How many did you actually receive, Chris?
We've got John Schitzius, Becky Hubert, Jim Alexander, and Natalie Polk.
Yeah.
And those were all sent to you
Did
guys.
did you have a deadline to get them
We are opening today's meeting,
in?
yes.
So you were letting them already come in till today?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Because I wasn't sure about when
We
that.
put till the opening up of
till today.
till
Okay.
today. I think we just announced that at the meeting, we had put it on the board. Or put it on the website, I mean. There's two of them flowed in yesterday.
First of all, I want to thank all four of the individuals. They seem qualified for expressing interest in serving our community. I mean, it's good to have those people that will step up and offer to serve in this capacity. And we have one available seat, and we do appreciate those that offer.
Toward January, we'll have a couple more seats, correct?
No, those are always in September, and don't ask me why.
Oh,
But
it'll be
hospital,
next September.
hospital board.
Is
yeah.
this replacing
This is replacing Stephanie. Yeah.
Stephanie Apple?
Yeah.
Okay.
She chose not to
Yeah.
continue to serve.
So will there be another one open here in September?
No, this
No,
is
this
the
is
only
it.
one.
The only one?
She was serving at, I believe, John Hartz's. when
Yes.
He passed. And
Yes.
so it was a shortened period of time, and now that seat opens back up.
I just didn't know if there was more going to be till the end of, at the end of the year or January or
In
what.
some years, we have two.
Okay.
Now, I don't know the exact cycle of that, but this is only one.
I'd like to nominate John Schutzius.
He's got a really impressive,
Very good resume.
I mean, yeah.
Great.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second to appoint John Schutzius to the hospital board. Any other further discussion?
No, thank you. Thank them again, everybody, for applying. They're really good.
With that said, all those in favor of John Schutzius?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So Chris, you need to notify him of his appointment
Yeah, we'll send a letter to all four of them.
and make sure you thank him because it's appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for our agenda for today's meeting. Our next meeting is Monday, October the 6th, 2025 at 9 a.m. And entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.